Hey guys, what's up? Legend BTV here, back at it again to talk about another album. Today we're talking about Walk the Moon's new album, What If Nothing. Walk the Moon, the famous alt-rock band from Ohio that burst onto the scene with a debut album in 2012 called I Want, but then it actually turned into Walk the Moon, the commercialized, self-titled album when they were signed to RCA Records that produced a bunch of singles like Tightrope, Anna Sun. And Anna Sun was like such a fantastic, really catchy, uplifting song. I'm not sure if it got any play on pop radio or not, but I definitely know that it was kind of a song that was out there. It was a really big alternative song at the time, so I was like, you know, creds to them for that. But then I knew this big song was a hit here when 2014's Talking Is Hard came out. An album that saw massive success with the single Shut Up and Dance that was like inescapable on pop radio that year in 2015. With that huge single in mind, then we come over to this new record here, and I'm sitting here like, are they ever going to be able to redo that success? And I'm like, with a massive single like that, I'm just like, yeah, no. The problem with having such an incredible song as your first hit, your first huge top 10 hit, is how in the heck are you going to follow it up? Once I heard about this new third album over here called What If Nothing from these guys, I gotta admit, I was really excited for this record. The single 1 Foot came out, which was supposed to be the big, pretty much Shut Up and Dance Part 2. Unfortunately, due to the song not being as memorable as Shut Up and Dance, it definitely was not nearly as big as that. It didn't even chart, so sadly, I'm not sure Walk the Moon are ever going to get that second hit. But I kept my faith, because I do admit 1 Foot is a catchy song, though. Honestly, I feel like it is a well-produced song, and I really do like the electronic elements and the new style they chose to take with this song. But it definitely still feels like old Walk the Moon, and it definitely feels like, you know, a little bit something different, but still at the same time, it's pretty fun, and I do like how rough the drop breakdown kind of gets. So I like the track. It does get a little old, I will admit. It's not as replayable as I would have liked it to been. It's definitely no Anna Sun or Shut Up and Dance. It's definitely the weakest of the three first singles for their albums, but I kept my faith in until we heard more songs from this record. There were songs that released beforehand, like Headphones came out, and I do admire like the rougher style Walk the Moon was going with, although I do feel like the melody could have shined brighter in that song. And I don't know, there's something about it I really wanted to like a lot more than I actually did. Although I respect the track, I can't really call it all that great. And then me not hearing any of the other singles coming up to this record, side one, which we're going to get into in a minute, I go into What If Nothing with hopeful expectations. I mean, I wasn't really all that excited anymore, that I felt like this record might end up being a disappointment. So, was I right? Sadly, I gotta say this record is a little underwhelming. While I wouldn't say it was bad, it's just not as good as either Walk the Moon or Talking Is Hard. Both great albums, which I was like, you know, how are they gonna do it again on a third record? I'm like, okay, if they were to do it, I was like, I would be impressed. But sadly, this new third record just doesn't do it for me, to be honest. And I'm like, I was wondering why this thing was tanking down in sales so fast, but yeah, I mean, I figured it out. It's because the record really isn't memorable. Yeah, it's not one that's going to last with me very long, to be honest. And that's sad, because I love Walk the Moon. These guys are a really talented group. Nicholas Petricka is a really talented singer, and his voice just fits well with their kind of upbeat, kind of party music. But sadly, on this new record, we just get a lot of either A, just too trendy sounding instrumentation that sounds almost like pop sellout stuff, or B, the old Walk the Moon style, just pretty diluted and really kind of stale sounding at this point. Let's talk about the tracks individually. There's Press Restart, and honestly I feel like that's kind of a really vanilla and middle-of-the-road song that honestly doesn't start this record out on a boom at all. Unlike Quesadilla and Different Colors did on the first two records. Those songs are both awesome, and I feel like definitely get me hyped for the record when I hear them. This song unfortunately sounds a little boring, to be honest. There's not many guitars at all. There's not much of a good melody or hook. It just sounds kind of dull. There's Surrender, and honestly I think that's a good track. There's not really much of the Walk the Moon feel, but I do feel like the different style they took actually works in this case. There's some nice pianos, good vocals, and overall it's a solid track on an album that I felt like could have used a few more solid tracks. All I Want kind of sounds like a song from their first album, and even parts of Talking Is Hard mixed together. But honestly, not really sold on this one either. it sounds okay, and I don't hate the song. It's just, it doesn't really sound too memorable or interesting, just like a lot of this record. And I was just like, yeah, it just sounds like more of the same, to be honest. And it just sounds pretty flavorless and actually kind of bland. All Night is a song that I really wanted to love, and I like it. I like the guitars in this song. The vocals are good, and it's got a catchy sing-along kind of chorus, but they're just kind of washed too much out by this really bass-heavy instrumentation that kind of just sounds like a lot of the trendy stuff on modern radio. And I'm like, man, it just seems like to me that this album so far just sounds like they're wanting to get another radio hit like Shut Up and Dance so badly that they just kind of lost their way on this record and didn't really fit to a solid song structure or just, you know, making good music like they really did on the first two albums and the EPs and such. There's Kamikaze, and the beginning doesn't totally sound like Shawn Mendes's Stitches with the guitar, the acoustics in the background, and it does kind of fit like pretty much a modern pop song. And, I mean, it's okay. I don't hate this song. It's just kind of forgettable, guys. I mean, that's pretty much how I would sum the rest of this album up. Except for one song. We'll get into that in a minute. But, overall, the majority of this album is just pretty forgettable, guys. I really wanted to love this, but there's very few songs I could say even touch any of the songs from Walk the Moon or Talking Is Hard. Both records were great, to be honest. And this one just doesn't hold a candle, to be honest. But on the flip side, I will say that as its own record, not judging it from the other two, it's okay. It's a serviceable record, but it just doesn't really do anything outside the box, or that Walk the Moon haven't done better in their previous two albums. It does sound like retreading the old ground that they've already struck and not really presenting many new ideas at the table that haven't already been done with like modern pop structures. Like this record, I basically file under two categories. One, the songs that sound like already done better Walk the Moon songs, or two, just songs that are ready for modern radio. And it really disappoints me because like I was curious to see what they were going to do with their new style, because I knew that they was going to do a new style, but really there just isn't much new or original here about this style, and that's just leaves a bad taste in my mouth for this band, because I always considered them a really creative and inspired group, but this just sounds like really a lot of the same stuff, and it just screams a sellout record to me. Overall, I'm thinking can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm going 5 out of 10, guys. I really didn't enjoy this record all that much. Almost every song, felt really incomplete. My favorite tracks are Surrender, One Foot. In My Mind, I forgot to mention, is also another great track. It's got a really nice melody, and the parts in the verses are really good. It sounds like this tinkle, and tinkle. What? Anyways, though, really liked that song. And then Surrender's good, too. And then, I guess, Headphones. Other than that, my least favorites probably gotta be Press Restart, because it's pretty banal and really just kind of very generic. Other than that, though, really disappointed by the latest from Walk the Moon, though. Tell me what you guys thought of this record down in the comments below. Like, subscribe, comment your thoughts. Oh my god, I already said that. Thank you all for watching my review of Walk the Moon's What If Nothing. I am Legend BTV, and don't forget to subscribe.